honored guests, thank you all for coming out today, for staying out in the heat to brave all this. Hope you're having a wonderful 4th of July. Now, we have with us an honored guest from Maryland to give us a recitation that they first gave in Rochester, New York. Ladies and gentlemen and honored guests, Mr. Frederick Douglass.
Friends and fellow citizens, he who could address the audience without a quailing sensation has stronger nerves than I have. I do not remember ever have appeared as a speaker before any assembly more than I do this day. A feeling has crept over me, quite unfavorable to the exercise of my limited powers of speech. The task before me requires much previous thought and study for its proper performance. I know that apologies of this sort are generally considered flat and unmeaning. However, I trust that mine would not be so considered. Should I seem at ease, my appearance would much misrepresent me. The little experience I have had addressing public meetings or in country schoolhouses avails me nothing to this present moment. With little experience and with less learning, I've been able to throw my thoughts hastily and imperfectly together. And trusting in your patient and generous indulgence, I will proceed to lay them before you. The fact is, ladies and gentlemen, the distance between this platform and the slave plantation from which I escaped is considerable. And the difficulties in which I have overcome are no means slight. That I am here today, to me, is a matter of astonishment and of gratitude. For this purpose of the celebration, is the 4th of July. It is the 4th of July. It is the birthday of your national independence and political freedom. This celebration also marks the beginning of another year of your national life and reminds you that the Republic of America is now 76 years old. And I am glad, fellow citizens, that your nation is so young. 76. Though a good old age for a man, is not but a mere speck in the life of a nation. But nations number their years by the thousands. According to this fact, you are now, even now, only in the beginning of your national career, still lingering in the period of childhood. Were the nation older, the patriots' hearts might be sadder. The simple story of it is that 76 years ago, the people of this country were British subjects. You were under the British crown. Your father's esteemed government was the English government, and it was its home government. And England was the fatherland. But your fathers, who had not adopted the fashionable idea of this day and the absolute character of its acts, presumed to differ from the home government. They went so far in their excitement as to pronounce the measures of the English government as unjust, unreasonable, and oppressive. To say that now in America, that America was right and England was wrong, it's exceedingly easy. Everyone could say it, and it's fashionable to do so. But there was a time when to pronounce against England tried the souls of men. Your fathers, like men of honesty and men of spirit, earnestly sought redress They petitioned and demonstrated. They did so in a respectful and loyal manner. This, however, did not answer the purpose. They saw themselves treated with sovereign indifference, coldness, and scorn, yet they persevered. Oppression makes a wise man mad. Your fathers were wise men. They felt themselves the victims of grievous wrongs, wholly incurable in the colonial capacity. With brave men, there is always a remedy for oppression. Just here, the idea of total separation from the colonies, from the crown, was born. It was a startling idea, and it may refresh your minds in my story if I read it. Resolved that these united colonies are of right and ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from the allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be dissolved. Just here, the idea of total separation of the colonies from the crown was born. Citizens, your fathers made good on that resolution. They succeeded, and today you reap the fruits of their benefits. The freedom gained is yours, and you, therefore, may properly celebrate this anniversary. The 4th of July is the first great fact in your nation's history, and the very rainbow in the chain of your undeveloped identity. Friends and citizens, I need not further into the causes in which lead to this day. Many of you understand them better than I do. You can instruct me in regard to them. My business, if I have any here today, is with the present. The accepted time with God and his cause is the ever-living now. We have to do with the past as we can make of it useful to the present and to the future. You have no right to enjoy a child's share in the labor of your fathers unless your children are to be blessed by the labors. The good, the evil that men do lives after them. The good is often turned in their bones. Fellow citizens, pardon me, but allow me to ask, why am I called upon here today? What have I, or those that I represent, to do with your national independence? Are the great principles of political freedom and national justice embodied in the Declaration of Independence extended to us? Would to God, both for your sakes and ours, that an answer could be truthfully returned to those questions. Your high independence only reveals the immeasurable distance between us. The blessings in which you this day rejoice are not enjoyed in common. The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence bequeathed by your fathers is shared by you, not by me. The sunlight that brought life and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. The 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice. I must mourn. Do you mean to mock me by asking me to speak today? Fellow citizens, above your national joy, I hear the mournful wails of millions whose chains, heavy and grievous yesterday, are today rendered more intolerable by the jubilee shouts that reach them. My subject, fellow citizens, is American slavery. I shall than it did on this 4th of July. America is false to the past, false to the present, and solemnly binds herself false to the future. Standing with God and the crushed and bleeding slaves on this occasion, I will, in the name of humanity, which is outraged in the name of liberty, which is fettered in the name of the Constitution and the Bible, which are all disregarded and trampled upon, with all the emphasis I can command, everything that serves and perpetuates slavery, the great sin and shame in America. There is not a man beneath the canopy of heaven that does not know that slavery is wrong. At a time like this, scorching iron, not a convincing argument is needed. For this is not light that is needed, but fire. It's not a gentle shower, but thunder. We need the storm, the whirlwind, and the earthquake. The feeling of the nation must be quickened. The conscience of the nation must be roused. The hypocrisy of the nation must be exposed. The crimes against God and man must be proclaimed and denounced. What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer. A day that reveals to him, more than any other day in the year, the gross and unjust and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham. Your national greatness, swelling vanity, your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery, your prayers and hymns, your servants and thanksgiving, with all your religious parade are to him more fraud, deception, and hypocrisy. A thin veil to cover up the crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on earth guilty of the practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour. Go where you may. Search where you will. Roam through the monarchies of the old world. Search out every abuse. And when you have found, lay your facts to the side with everyday practices of this nation, you will say with me that for the revolted barbarity and shameless hypocrisy, America reigns without a rival. I was born amid such sights and scenes. To me, the American slave trade is a terrible reality. For black people, they are neither law, justice, humanity, nor religion. You declare before the world that you hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And yet, fellow citizens, the existence of slavery in this country brands your republicanism as a sham. It destroys your moral power abroad. It corrupts your politicians at home. It saps the foundation of your government. It is the antagonistic force in your government, the only thing that seriously disturbs and endangers your union. Your fathers kept the word of promise to the ear, but they break it to the heart. And instead of being honest men, as I have declared them before, they were the veriest imposters that ever petitioned on mankind. This is the inevitable conclusion. And for it, there is no escape. Allow me to say Notwithstanding the dark picture I have this day presented of the state of the nation, I do not despair of this country. There are forces in operation which must inevitably work the downfall of slavery. I therefore leave off where I began, and hope, while drawing encouragement from the Declaration of Independence and the great principles it contains, and the genius of American institutions. My spirit is also cheered by the obvious tendencies of the age. Nations do not stand in the same relation to each other as they did years ago. No nation can now shut itself off from the surrounding world and trot around the same old path as its fathers without interference. The time was when such could be done. Knowledge was then confirmed and enjoyed by the privileged few, and the multitude walked on in mental darkness. But a change has now come over the affairs of mankind. The arm of commerce is born away the gates of a strong city. The intelligent is penetrating the darkest corners of the globe. It makes its pathway over and under the sea as well as on the earth. Oceans no longer divide, but link nations together. From Boston to London is now a holiday excursion. Thoughts expressed on one end of the Atlantic are distinctly heard on the other. No abuse, no outrage, whether in taste or sport, can now hide itself from the all-pervading light. In conclusion, in the fervent aspirations of William Lord Garrison, I say, and let every heart join in, Godspeed the hour and the glorious hour.
Godspeed the hour and the glorious hour.
When none on earth shall exercise lordly power.
When none on this earth shall exercise lordly power.
Nor in a tyrant's presence cower.
Nor in a tyrant's presence cower.
But all to manhood structure tower.
All to manhood structure tower.
By equal birth.
By equal birth.
The hour will come.
The hour will come.
To each to all.
To each to all.
And from his prison house the thrall.
And from his prison house the thrall.
Go forth.
Go forth.
Until that day.
Until that day.
Hour arrive.
Hour arrive.
With head and heart and hand I'll strive.
With head and heart and hand outstride.
To break the rod and red the gyve.
To break the rod and red the guide.
The spoiler of his prey deprived.
The spoiler of his prey deprived.
So witness heaven.
So witness heaven.
And never from my chosen post.
And never from my chosen post.
Wherever the brow or the cost.
Wherever the brow or the cost.
Be driven.
Be driven.